Let's talk about a bourbon that got its name from an agent who was stealing whiskey. Welcome to Pars and Pours. Jim McCleary here, the golf-centric whiskey channel, and we're going to talk about Larceny. All right, the Larceny A125 barrel. This is a barrel-proof whiskey, and it comes out 3 times a year. So you'll have the A, B, and C batch that everybody wants to covet. It all goes along with the Elijah Craig A, B, and C batch, and I believe the Bernheim actually comes out in those as well. I have the A's in all 3 of those, and we're going to review those one at a time and see how they compare. Now, Larceny is a Heaven Hill product, and how did it get its name? It got its name from a story that they like to tell, and it's about John Fitzgerald. And you see old Fitz and stuff, and that's a whole nother product. And what this goes from is when John Fitzgerald was a federal agent whose job was to watch the rickhouses for the Bottled and Bond Act. Mr. Fitzgerald had a bit of a taste for whiskey, and he had a very good palate and would go find the honey holes within the rickhouse, and he was known for taking pails of whiskey away. Not bottles, but pails of whiskeys away. And the people got to know that they started calling it the Fitzgerald or the Fitzgerald honey holes and that kind of stuff. So once they decided that the Fitzgerald brand left, they were still making this wheated bourbon, and so they came up with the idea of calling it Larceny. Now on the back, it's in a stamp, and it's a hard stamp. You wouldn't be able to see it here. It says, "What's not there is the key to what is." That's a pretty neat little saying that they've got on here. So we have a wheated bourbon. It is barrel proof, and it comes in at 62.5, so 125. Yep, so 125, not too bad, right? So we're going to see what's going to happen here. I just opened it, right? Just opened it. Have the swirl going on, giving it the swirl. I moved upstairs from the porch because the porch, we're getting ready to get some rain, and actually this is a little bit more comfortable. This is not my collection. In fact, I'll show you a picture of what my collection actually looks like. It's out of the way, and it's not ready for me to do any filming there, so that's where we're going to probably do a little bit of this. So again, what we wanted to tell you was that we completed the trail, so we can talk about the differences in the different distilleries and some of the stuff I have in the boxes, so I'm keeping the bottles out of the sunlight. So on the nose, you get the wheated funk with a light hint of the caramel. A little bit of ethanol. Yep, the wheated funk and the caramel are the strong players on this one. Now, in the course of me testing all these things, what I've come to find out is, when you go to smell or nose these things, and you go in here and you go, oh my gosh, all I smell is ethanol, or I smell is, the burning. Well, if you get to that, one of the easiest ways to get around it is just go and just blow it out, because it's a gas, right? And that's what we get, the wheated funk and a nice hint of caramel. Now on the first sip of the day, it hits, you get a, what you get is a really nice, right on the front of the palate, you get that, it excites the front of the tongue, and the wheated posture comes through. You can taste the 125 coming into it. A little drying in the middle, a little bit drying on the middle, and you can feel it hitting the back end for the Kentucky hug, or the what they would say the lingering, or what I would say is the lingering finish. I'll try one more here. Yep, you get that. It's still, even on the second sip, the front of the tongue gets all the energy that you would see, that gives you that burst that wakens up the mouth. You get the middle of the tongue, or the middle of the palate, where you get the drying, but now the caramel notes start showing up, and it's just it's a nice finish. I won't say it's a strong finish, because I'm not one that really likes one that's just going to sit there and linger all day long on the back end of your palate. But it's sitting there and it's doing a really, really, really good job. Now, as a surprise part of this, what I wanted to introduce to you is and we're going to talk about this several times beforehand, but what they have is at Heaven Hill, they have Bourbon Your Way, and where you can go and pick it's a barrel pick of one of the either Elijah Craig, Larceny's, and that kind of stuff. And I've been to this several times. In fact, I'm going next week. And this one is of the old style sticker, where if you look through the sticker, you can see a key in there, where now they've changed it to where it looks like that. So this is the new, this is the old. So if you're out and about and you're in the liquor store and you see one of these, you know you're getting an aged bottle. All right. So what they call this a Y batch, and the Y batch is a little different. We'll go talking about that. But this one comes out at 125.8. That was 124 to 125, so they're really, really close. I did this in May of last year, and as you can see, we've been tasting on it a little bit. It's had its fair share of air on it. And oh my, it is so much more gentler. Now, it could be because of the air that we've had on it or whatnot, but you still get the wheated smell, the wheated funk, but it is at a level that is just so much lower, so much gentler, so much smoother, that that's an enjoyable one right there. Now that's different. It's not as, it's kind of funny. It still attacks the front of the palate like the other one did, but it just completely tones itself out in the middle and on the way back. You still get those caramel caramel notes, caramel tastes, caramel flavors, and intertwined with the wheat. But I would say that the barrel proof A125 is a bit more complex, meaning that you see that there's more layers that are going on with it. This is truly a phenomenal sipper, but if you wanted something with just a little bit more depth, this was it. Now, when we get done with this, and there has a little bit more air on, a little bit more time, since this is the very first pour, this one might mellow out just as easily. So, you learn a little something about Larceny. If you see it out on the shelves, I'd certainly recommend the 125. It certainly stays in the bag. All right, I give it a par to in between. You know, it's just right there where you hit that second shot really, really good, and you're on the green. You're just 15 foot from the hole. So it's a it's a really nice, it's a nice pour. I wouldn't pass on that one at all. So again, if you like this, help me out and like and subscribe so we can grow our viewership, and we'll bring you some more of these different types of content. Thank you, and share your pours and enjoy your pars.